Thank you.
We have with us famed civil rights attorney Alton Maddox, who surprisingly they let speak and they let testify today. Most of the attorneys that they let testify, no surprise, we're here to show their support and show how wonderful the system is and how we have to protect these attorneys because so many complaints are thrown out. Alton Maddox, I will say, besides giving a very passionate speech, he didn't take any of their crap. He didn't let them bully him, and he put them on the spot, which is, of course, what they don't like about attorneys. These are the people, they're not part of the in crowd who just play by the rules. So I'm going to let Alton Maddox say something here.
Thank you very much for the invitation. We had a great day today. I think the real story here was that the problems that affect our community affect other communities as well, because we've been discussing some of these issues as they affected us. And we ran ads in the New York Amsterdam News. We ran ads in the Alton Press about apartheid justice. But then when we got here, I don't care who they were, how they looked, they were all saying the same thing. So we have a serious problem in New York, and it has to be addressed. And one of the things that I've called for, and I think is necessary, is that we're back at a stage as we were in 1955 with the Montgomery bus boycott. And at that particular time, people recognized that the only way that we were going to get any sense of dignity was to boycott. We're not talking about dignity now, we're talking about justice, which is something more substantial. And so if we are allowing ourselves to be treated the way that we are being treated, and being treated because in 1991, a Blue Ribbon Commission, the New York Commission on Judicial Minorities, found that New York's judicial system was infested with racism. And since that particular time, everybody's been afraid to say it. And that's one of the things we got over today was that we not only have to deal with the question of attorney discipline, but we also have to deal with judicial racism. And that is what is killing us. It was judicial racism that brought about the Scottsboro Boys case. It was judicial racism that brought the Central Park 7 case. Now we see judicial racism raising its ugly head in Richmond County with Eric Garner, with Sean Bell in Queens, with Christopher Ridley in Westchester, with John White in Suffolk County. So they're all over the place, but it's very systematic. It's very systematic. And it's something that we cannot let go under the rug, and that this is not the end of the struggle, this is the beginning.
You mentioned racism towards African Americans, and that's, you have a lot of supporters here.
Right.
But like you said, I think this transcends the line. I think it's more of a fact that there's just an overall bias. From my standpoint, there's a bias against fathers when they go to court. When it comes to custody battles, fathers are trying to turn them into ATMs. As you said, African American. If you're an African American man, you got two strikes against you. You don't have a shot in hell going up against these elite lawyers, especially in Suffolk County and where I'm familiar.
And that's the problem. And that's what I think that we began to realize is that this problem has to be seriously examined. And it has to be seriously examined by people in so many other communities. And I think the first thing we have to do is to extract this transcript and look at this testimony and then begin to combine those witnesses into a very powerful force. But right now, The Economist magazine in June, front page cover was the Jailhouse Nation. And it was talking about over 2 million blacks behind bars. That's a very dismal situation. And it does not allow for the future of families, nor does it allow for the future of the children, where you have over 2 million black men now behind bars.
Now, Mr. Maddox, one of the things you asked for, and we've been trying to fight this with Americans for Legal Reform for years. We get nowhere. What they do is they silence people like you who fight out against the system, and they just turn, he's a crazy guy, let's get rid of him. You called for a boycott against the judicial system.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you, what do you mean by a boycott? What do you do when they pull you into the system? What do? You'll end up in jail.
Well, what you do is this, and we did the same thing with Tawana Brawley, and that was a precedent and has to be followed. The only way that you can fight this system is to, obviously, when you have to submit because you've been forced to appear in court, but if there's an opportunity to get bail, once you get bail, don't come back. And that's how you deal with it. And instead of coming back, you go to a church because all the church's doors are supposed to be open. And so you go into a church and then you call the clerk of the court and tell them that's where you are. And so if they want you, come and get you. And I think that there's not enough vehicles in this city to start going around transporting people from these various churches. And so that's the point that we have to make. That was the point that we made into Warner Brothers. I mean, people say, well, you can't put in a sanctuary. We did. And nobody came, and Tawana left, her mother left, and now they're down in Virginia. So it's no question that we can fight back, and it's just a question of everybody recognizing that in order to save souls, you have to save bodies. And when preachers are concerned about, on Sundays, talking about their sermons, we have to really let them know that black lives do matter. And it didn't just start. Black lives have mattered ever since we've been here.
Again, thank you for showing up today. I know you have no skin in the game, but the fact that you're out there fighting for people who can't and being a voice for them, for all of us, not just the African-American community, but everybody, as you said, has just been beaten down by this corrupt and this sham of a committee that they had here. And you pointed it out, and you called them on their shit, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for coming.